Happy Halloween gamers, Doc here. The Elder Scrolls Online Update 44 is officially here, and we got a chance to explore some of these updates on stream the other day. I did mean to get this video out yesterday, and I do apologize that I did not, but I do hope that this is a nice little treat for Halloween for you guys. So I think, not much to say beforehand. Let's just go ahead and jump into discussing the most prevalent part of this update, the Battlegrounds. So one quick disclaimer though before I do start actually talking about it. I would not call myself a PvPer. I do dabble in PvP for the rewards, but I would most definitely identify as a PvE player. So my thoughts may not align with or be representative of the larger PvP community. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, for those that may not know, the way that Battlegrounds used to work is that it would pit 3 teams of 4 players against each other in various game modes. The way that the new Battlegrounds works is that there are now 2 different game modes, or queues, I guess you should say. There is an 8v8 casual mode with both solo and group queues. These includes power-ups found throughout the map that you can pick up. There is also a 4v4 competitive mode that also has a solo and group queue and also does not include any power-ups. With this comes several new maps for both casual and competitive. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that these maps are actually the only maps for Battlegrounds now, since the old maps were designed with 4v4v4 in mind. They also updated rewards as well. I won't go too in-depth, you guys will probably figure that out on your own, but know that Battlegrounds does feel like it is more rewarding. This is especially true if you like to farm transmute stones. They added some new sets, and while none of them are particularly useful to us as a healer, they do seem like pretty decent sets for my actual PvPers out there. I'll also go ahead and use this part of the video to say that Imperial City also got a change to their rewards, as well as turning key fragments into a new currency. I'm not really a fan of Imperial City, but, for those that just love the Imperial City, this will probably be a change that you'll like. So after all of this, how am I feeling? I don't think it will be a hot take to say that 8v8 is honestly like the most fun that I have ever had in Battlegrounds. I've been following a lot of the conversations online about these changes to see what the community thinks, and it seems like a lot of people also really enjoy the 8v8, though there is a lot of negative feedback, mostly regarding the 4v4 competitive mode. I did stay out of that mode because I figured with it being labeled competitive, it's probably not the place for myself just yet. The 8v8 casual mode, though, I genuinely cannot overstate how much fun it is. We played a ton of it on stream the other day, so if you'd like to see more gameplay other than what you're witnessing right now, you can go check out my second channel where I do post all of my streams. Anyway, yeah, new Battleground feels great to play. In regards to 8v8 specifically, I'm definitely noticing less ganks happening to people now that there isn't a third set of players to come pincer you while 2 teams are fighting each other. Plus, with a larger number of players on a team, there's less ability to focus down single targets, leading to much more emphasis on playing as a team and fighting together. I definitely do understand how that can be a bit frustrating to some people who probably enjoyed the individual skill expression of 4v4v4. However, as a healer, I can definitely say that 8v8 allows healing and buffing to feel more impactful than ever since there's a new emphasis placed on team play and coordination. Again, I can't speak too much on the 4v4 competitive mode, and probably won't for a while. I don't see myself interacting with that mode too terribly much. I don't think it's the place for a casual PvP player such as myself, but I imagine the more hardcore PvP community can give a much better analysis. Okay, I think that's enough about Battlegrounds. Let's just go ahead and talk about the rest of this update. And I figured we would start by just briefly mentioning the balancing changes. Now, I'm not a balancing expert, so I won't bore you with my uneducated opinions. However, there were a couple things that may affect healing and healers, so I wanted to touch on those real quick before we move on. Firstly, Dragon Knights got a change to their Cauterize skill that now heals up to 4 people rather than just 1. The healing per tick was reduced, but the tick rate is faster, resulting to a net increase in healing. Dragon Knights have always been one of the weaker healing classes, mainly because this class is more designed for tanking, which is totally fair. And while I don't think people will be tripping over themselves to create a DK healer, it is a nice change nonetheless. All the other classes got some changes as well, but nothing really affecting us as healers. For my tanks out there, y'all did get a pretty decent amount of changes, so, let me know how you guys feel about that in the comments. In terms of sets, the only real notable change to any healing sets was that Gossamer received a nice buff. The major evasion you can grant people with the set was increased from 1 second to 4 seconds. I'm honestly really happy with this change, and I actually still use Gossamer regularly in my PvP healing build. I do think Gossamer is a solid PvP healer set since you can acquire it through PvE. Again, I'm still using it, right? And maybe I wouldn't consider myself a beginner, but for my beginners out there, Cradle of Shadows is not a super hard dungeon to farm, so definitely worth it. Honestly, even after you acquire better sets, Gossamer does still have a place in PvP healing, since I do personally think that Major Evasion is a pretty strong buff, especially against a lot of the current PvP builds. And honestly, after playing a lot of the new Battlegrounds, I think that Gossamer will be even better in 8v8, where AoE skills are going to become more valuable against these larger teams. So take advantage of Gossamer, I would say, personally. Farm out Cradle of Shadows, my PvP healers, whether you're just getting started or you're like me and just kind of casual. There are probably better sets than Gossamer, but even then, I do think that it's a solid set that most PvP healers should keep on their person. This update also added 2 new companions to the game, Tanloran and Zenith Avar. I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. They seem pretty cool, honestly. Tanloran is a sort of Dragon Knight soul magic sort of companion, and Zenith Avar is a necromancer. I do sort of have mixed feelings about these companions being Crown Store purchases, because on one hand, it's nice that we have base game companions that are tied to a DLC. On the other hand, these are only available through the Crown Store, so you will have to buy them individually. Fortunately, if you have ESO Plus, you can pick them up for free as of the time of posting this video. I don't know if that will remain that way forever, so I definitely recommend picking them up as soon as possible. There's also a new scribing skill called Banner Bearer, which I think looks really interesting, and I'll definitely mess around with it to see if it does anything for healers. If it ends up being something that's pretty awesome for us, I will definitely let y'all know. There are also some new focus script options for grimoires. There were a couple other minor changes like furnishing, skill styles, collectibles, stuff like that. Things that other people probably care a little more about than myself. I probably also forgot a couple things. I think there was the whole golden vendor thing that I'm going to look a bit more into, but this video was more so focused on the Battlegrounds update and just any changes to healing related things. So hopefully I was able to get my point across that I'm really enjoying this Battlegrounds update so far. Okay, I think that about covers it. I can't really think of anything else to talk about, so I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. You guys leave your thoughts down below on some of the things that we have talked about today. I definitely have a different perspective on balancing and gameplay changes than a lot of other people, so please do let me know how you're feeling. Other than that, though, all I've got left to say is that I've been Doc. Take care of yourselves, be good to others, try out the new Battlegrounds, and I will catch y'all in the next one.